All right, so trying to finish up the film series that I've started. We got Hatchet 2, and uh, this one. I mean, I didn't hate it, but this rubbed me the wrong way. It should be called Hatchet 2: The Retconning, for all the retconning, and Adam Green tries to make connections to other films as well. We'll get to it. So we pick up right where the other one left off. However, Mary Beth is now not played by Tamara Feldman anymore, but Danielle Harris. And Ben is just gone, even though last time we saw him he was alive, but he's not mentioned or seen here. And then Mary Beth gets away. She's rescued by Jack Cracker, the guy who drinks his own piss. When he finds out who her father is, he flips out and tells her to leave and starts going, I didn't know her. I didn't know who she was related to. I didn't know. I'm like, they're going to retcon something here. They're going to make her important to the story, even though she was just another character in the first one. I don't know. So then Jack Cracker looks at a camcorder he found, which belonged to Shapiro from the first film. And, it shows some titties. The two girls from the first film and some other ones. One that used to be like a 4th grade student of his or something. And then another one, he's chasing after a 14-year-old. I'm like, can we move on, please? And thankfully we do, because Victor Crowley shows up and kills Jack Cracker with his own intestines. Yanks the intestine out, strangles him until his head pops up. I thought that was a decent kill. It's a little over the top, but I thought it was funny. So now, because Jack Cracker told her to go find Reverend Zombie, which is Tony Todd's character in the first one, she goes to find Reverend Zombie, and this is where we get the retconned backstory. In the first film, it was sort of a tragic backstory for Victor Crowley, where, some kids, little kids, which we'll get to, threw firecrackers at the house, causing the place to go into flames. When the dad came, he accidentally chopped his own son in the head, and he died. And it was tragic, because what you saw was a good father taking care of his deformed son. You felt sympathy for both of them. This movie, the retconning in this movie basically says, fuck you, Thomas Crowley, because they make this guy terrible, at least for somewhat. We go back into the backstory and find out that Thomas Crowley had a wife who was dying of some form of stomach cancer. And while she was on her deathbed, he was having an affair with her nurse, her African-American nurse, which ends up being Victor Crowley's mother. But, which also makes Victor Crowley mixed race. Okay. But, because of this, the mom, his wife, before she dies, I should say, wakes up, puts a curse on the unborn child, and then dies. And then we find out that that child was Victor Crowley, of course, and apparently the sight of Victor Crowley caused her to die, the nurse mom to die, and then we get the backstory of what happened in the first one. I get adding more to the lore of Victor Crowley, that's one thing, but your retcons of stuff, like, you made us sympathize with the character of Thomas Crowley in the first one, because he accidentally killed his own son. It was shown to him being nothing but a nurturing father, which he still was, but now you've shown us this dude cheated on his dying wife with another woman, and that child, he deserves what he got. They're not, like, Victor Crowley didn't deserve to die, but, like, But what else they retconned is that Mary Beth's father, who was played by Robert Englund in the first film, was one of the kids who caused Victor Crowley's death, caused the fire that ended up with Victor Crowley dying. But also, now all of a sudden, they're teenagers. But that wasn't the case in the first film at all, because in the first film, there were 3 little kids that picked on Victor Crowley at the store, then showed up with the cherry bombs. They're the same kids. So they were like 10-year-olds, and now they're like 16. Because Adam Green probably realized, if we're making one of the kids father, we have to age him up because Robert Englund wasn't that young. So let's retcon again. It just doesn't make any sense. And then after Reverend Zombie sends her home, we get continuity error. Not only because Perry Chen is still in this film, but he's played by a different. He's a different character. He's the character he played in the first film's twin brother. Sean's twin brother, Justin. And to differentiate, he's got a goatee. Not a very good looking goatee, but goatee. Yes, but we get a continuity error because we see on the TV there's some kind of news report about a survivor of an incident at a ski resort. And it's Emma Bell's character from Frozen. However, Frozen takes place in 2009. We are told that this happens right after the end of the first film, which took place in 2006. So that doesn't add up at all. Because 2009, 2010, whatever. Because I think they filmed Frozen, then he started doing this right afterwards. Because Sean Astin shows up in a sort of clip thing at the beginning of all the victims that Victor Crowley is killed up to the point. And yeah, it's a nice, cool little cameo thing, but it doesn't make any sense when you think of the continuity that this takes place in 2006, right after the first one, and the Frozen takes place in 2009, 2010-ish. No, it doesn't make any sense. But, yeah, that's not the only other horror movie we connect to this universe, because Reverend Zombie gathers a bunch of people to hunt down Victor Crowley in the swamp. One of them says he was raised in Glen Echo, which, if you know what Glen Echo is, that's the town that Leslie Vernon was from in Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. He even mentions Leslie Vernon very quickly before being told to shut up. So that's 3 films, and a fake infomercial, I guess, is in there too that he did. But that's 3 films all connected. Hatchet, Universe, Frozen, Hatchet, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. I did perk up when I heard him say Leslie Vernon. Like, wait, what? Yeah. And so Reverend Zombie tells him, hey, we're going to go out there. And this is where you realize that even though Perry Chen is playing a different character, it's the same character. He's doing goofy accents, he's acting almost the same, but with a goatee. So he's not really playing different, but, you know. And so, he talks Mary Beth into, Mary Beth wants to go out there and she wants to get the bodies of her dad and her brother back. It's flimsy. It's a flimsy excuse. That's why she wants to go back out there. It ends up being about revenge later, but Reverend Zombie says that he won't take her out there unless she brings her uncle with her. Mary Beth, you've been told your father was responsible. You think your family might be, connected to this. But she said, okay, I'll bring my Uncle Bob. And given what we find out later, it doesn't make sense that she would... I don't know, I got it. Then there's other guy named Trent that he says has to come out there too, and he offers him $5,000 to go out there. Or $1,000, $500 now, $500 later. And there's another group. We get introduced to some other characters. There's Vernon, it's supposed to be the replacement for Marcus, the funny black guy, but he's annoying. Apart from something that I can't get out of my head, but we'll get to that in a minute. And there's this guy, and he's engaged to someone else, but there's another woman that has a thing for him. And there's some other characters. One of the biggest problems with this is Victor, we don't see Victor, other than that montage at the beginning, we don't see Victor Crowley actually kill someone after John Carl Buechler. Till 50 minutes into the damn film. And then it's like a marathon of just killing people left and right. Everything is exposition. It's not very good, well done exposition either. And then they go out on the boat and you get Vernon and the chicken and the biscuits and the gravy with the biscuits and the chicken on the gravy. Yeah, he starts singing that song. And that's when you realize they're trying to make him Marcus from the first one. But when Marcus was actually funny, this guy comes off as Ben, but more awkward. Because he has some kind of interactions with people. Or like he goes up to me, turn that frown upside down. Oh, thank you, Vernon. Make out with me. Oh, what are you talking about? I can't. It's like, no. You're not funny, dude. Shut the fuck up. And there's a whole thing when they're all together where he's talking and he wants milk for the cookies. And it's just like, I don't know. He's not funny. Throughout the film, he tries to make jokes and he's not funny. So once they get out there, then the deaths start to happen. We start with the guy who made the Leslie Vernon reference. He gets pounded with the top of the axe, which why don't you just use the fucking blade? I don't know. And he won't stop. Another guy that was with him on the boat tries to escape and he gets his head put into the propeller. That's a pretty good effect. The guy who's engaged and his ex, they hook up with these tits and they do a gag where he's doing her from behind, and she starts yelling out stuff like, oh, it's better, is it better, it's better than God, it's better than Jesus, telling me you love me, tell me you love me. He's like, I love you. It's not really love because he only did it because she showed him her tits. That's it. Because he's like, no, I don't want this. And she's like, that. And he's like, fuck it. So that's the only reason why he did it. And then he gets decapitation. And then he's still going. And then she gets axed in the head. And then we get this one guy who doesn't really actually say a word. He mouths. He never says a word. Maybe that's a running joke. He gets decapitated. He gets killed. And then Mr. Biscuits and Gravy there, he gets killed. And so we're down to the main characters, basically. And they get to the, we're down to the main characters. We got Reverend Zombie, Mary Beth, Justin, Trent, and Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob, who's played by Tom Holland. No, not Spider-Man. The guy who directed Child's Play and Fright Night. That Tom Holland. Not Spider-Man. The other one. But, yes. And so, they go to the Victor Crowley house, but the bodies are not there. Well, no fucking shit they're not there. You waited a whole day. He had plenty of time to move all the bodies, which are all gone, by the way. And they never find the boat. So I don't know what happened to the boat. And, what? Do they ever explain what happened to Ben? I haven't seen in the other two, but... Ben... I don't know what happened to him, but, I don't know. Last time I saw him, he was alive. He just had one arm. Maybe he bled out and Victor Crowley hit his body. I don't know. Victor Crowley shows up and he kills Justin. Yes, and then he kills Trent by sticking him mouth first onto the table and then kicking it so the front of the head goes flying. And they do a gag where he still blinks. And I was like, no. That doesn't make any sense. And so it's down to the last three. And Mary Beth realizes, because she heard Justin and Reverend Zombie talking about something, and so Justin finally told her, hey, he thinks that if Victor Crowley kills off her Uncle Bob and Trent, then it'll all end. Reverend Zombie grabs Mary Beth, takes her away, and Victor Crowley kills Uncle Bob. But we get a twist! That's not really her uncle. It was her daddy's best friend, not really her uncle. Her uncle died from leukemia when she was 12. But now I gotta go back to the beginning when Reverend Zombie said, bring your uncle, why didn't she tell him then? And I'm looking for another reason other than, well, if we did that, we couldn't do the twist. Because it doesn't make any sense. Where he's like, you gotta bring your uncle. And she's like, okay, I'll bring my uncle, but if your uncle's dead, then you just bring in... And I kind of figured it out earlier, because when she's like, well, your Uncle Bob, and she's like, Bob? She didn't call him uncle at that point, and I'm like, your uncle, and Bob? And she didn't say Uncle Bob, and I'm like, there's gonna be a twist, and there was. He's not really your uncle, and not that it matters. Victor Crowley comes out, kills Reverend Zombie, and then we get Mary Beth beating the hell out of him, shotgun, shoots him in the face, cut the credits, just like the end of the first one. Adam Green likes to end his films with just a quick ending, doesn't he? Or at least the Hatchet ones. Yeah, so on the whole, not terrible, but I like the first one better. The characters were more well written. We knew more about the characters. We spent an hour with these characters, and we know jack shit. Other than the guy likes to sing about biscuits, gravies, and chicken. And he wants milk, cookies, and milk and shit. Perry Sanders is technically essentially playing the same character, even though it has a different name and a different look with the gutty. But he does a funny, phony accent, and still dies at the hand of Victor Crowley. So I don't know. And I also hear Perry Sanders in the third one. How the hell? They keep bringing in characters, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, this was fine. I'm just gonna say it's middle of the road. Not as good as the first one. I don't know, the retconning kind of got me going, eh. But yeah, I know it's the middle of the road. So what are your thoughts on Hatchet? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.